Good morning. Welcome to part 3. It's broad daylight, but our guy is still fast asleep. The lit screens were a great idea. They look fantastic at all hours of the day, but we still have some issues with the black lines. At this point, I don't think we will ever actually get rid of them all, and that's perfectly okay with me. I mean, I'll patch them over time. We can see one park guest here walking by, and it helps us fathom how huge the structure really is. When we were doing the time lapses, I looked back at the footage and it seemed so small, but this thing is not small at all. We'll start today off with working on more of the inside of the Plaza entry. As we can see, the Plaza entry foyer is a pretty easy and small room. I thought this would be the perfect start, something simple that allows the guests to get inside and walk around. This build is really simple. We're aiming for a realistic entry. I don't exactly know what this room looks like, but our goal here today is to add some elements that make it feel real. Two main items we want to add today inside the foyer are metal detectors and security tables. Last episode, we built the Sphere's podium, we started this Plaza entry, and then we built the beautiful sleeping emoji animation. Today, our agenda looks pretty intense. After we finish the basic layout of the Plaza entry, we'll jump into the Wizard of Oz edit and we'll have to find a way to replicate the massive screen that essentially wraps around the seats. I originally used arches as metal detectors, but they aren't realistic at all. I did get the security tables down right away. I loved how they looked, but here I just moved things around and played with different scenery items until I was satisfied with the product. I replaced the metal detectors with rectangular pieces. I was looking for small skinny metal, but decided on using light gray 4-meter scaffolding beams. This looks good. I think it would be amazing if they added a metal detector element, maybe a pack where we get elevators and escalators and metal detectors and some more modern electronic assets. I have no doubt in the Frontier team, so I know all of that will come eventually. If not here, maybe in Planet Zoo too. I was finally happy with the way the metal detectors and tables looked, so I duped them and removed the path to avoid guests clipping through items, but unfortunately, the path doesn't get as narrow as the space in between the metal detectors, so we'll have to accept clipping, and that's okay. I had queue paths here originally because they actually were skinny enough to fit in between the detectors, but, you know, of course, guests don't walk through queues like this, so I just decided to let the guests pretty much clip through everything. The third piece of this room is the beautiful trash bin. I placed one at each security table and around the room, and now it was time to enclose this room with a roof. I'm using the metal roof again, and I'll probably just stick with this pretty much throughout the build. After placing the roofs, I took a little break from the Plaza entry and decided to delete a lot of excess yellow sphere inside. These were swallowed by the podium and really no longer needed inside. So remember, we're building the path after the escalator in the Plaza entry, and now we are working on the second floor of the structure, the main level. And this area takes up like half of the sphere, so our strategy today is just to put a ton of path on this level. We'll give the guests more space to walk around, and we'll get an idea of what our main level will look like. The Plaza entry was looking great, very dark and cold looking, but we'll fix the lighting and details over time. I decided to start filling in the main level with path, just so we could have an idea what the main level will start to look like. I used the handy stamp tool and pressed the path up against the edge of the sphere, making sure the path wasn't showing on the outside. I did this for about half of the sphere, and I was trying my best to get the curb hidden inside the walls, but that didn't really matter too much to me at the time, as I knew I would be building bathrooms and other buildings up against the edge at some time in the future. So this area we're filling in now will be where the atrium is, and the atrium will be something we dive into next episode. We're going to try to make that look as realistic as possible, and I have some really cool ideas to make it just have an amazing ambiance. It's hard to see the big picture now, but trust me, it's going to be great. I'm really blown away what is actually possible in this game. The main level is where guests find their seats in the first row, so this semicircle essentially lays the groundwork for where the seats will be. This is deleted multiple times because it has to be perfectly centered with the sphere, the seats, and the screen all at the same time, but it's a start. Eventually we'll figure it out. It was time to give the sphere a brain operation because I needed a better view to see if that wedge in between the path and the sphere's walls. Having this be perfectly lined up was absolutely essential because we'll have to build our seats and our giant screen based on this shape. So I used a yellow wall to mark where the center of the screen would be and played around with the path a little more, and was pretty happy with the angles, so it was time to experiment with the screen. If you've been to the Sphere before, or if you've seen videos, you know just how big this screen actually is. Way too big for a single screen in Planet Coaster 2, so there's really only one solution here, and that is to use multiple screens. Not only do we need to use multiple screens, but we need to allow the screen to curve up as it gets higher, so that will be the challenge. The screen is the single most important part of this build, so I made sure to really take my time here and come up with the best option. I started with exploring the possibility of using multiple small screens like this, but quickly realized they were too small because we needed to be able to crop our short film we're creating, and that would be too many crops and too many exports. So then I began manipulating the 16-meter curved screen. I really liked how it looked and curved up while it was rotated to be in display in portrait. This was okay, but it wasn't tall enough, and the combo of flat to curved didn't really look good to me. I decided to axe the portrait curved screens and tried portrait flat screens for a little bit, but I didn't love the idea of having to not only crop our final Oz edit into a lot of different screens, but I would also have to rotate each crop as well. It was doable, but not the best option. However, with this, I had a good starting template for the screen's width, so I decided to move it outside so that I could figure out a way to build up the screen without it looking deformed or tacky. I finally found the right screens for this, the 32-meter lit screen, fully scaled, and I knew these would be the answer because I only need 6 total crops in our Oz edit and everything would be shaped almost perfectly. I just had to figure out a way to build up, so of course the best solution here would be just to angle all of the screens together so that we would have a lot of screen surface towards the top. I moved all 6 screens back and forth from inside to outside to make sure that they would fit, and after adding the 3rd row of screens, it was time for more angling, scaling, and seeing how the new giant screen actually looked inside the sphere. Our giant screen was assembled. It was looking great so far, so I moved it back outside to build and test our triggers, but first it was time to edit the Oz film. The idea behind this short film was to simulate the real show in Vegas. I think that one is over an hour, and even though I would love to do an hour film going in here, I thought it was an overkill, but I will say the film we make is like 2 minutes long and it actually works perfectly. I also wanted to be aware of possible copyright claims. I think I would be okay because I'm assuming Oz is fair use at this point, but I just wanted to make sure. Nonetheless, this edit came out looking perfect and I'm really happy with it. The goal in the edit was just to include some of the well-known scenes and some of the scenes in the real Vegas show. Of course, it starts off with Sepia Dorothy going through the tornado and entering the realm of color for the very first time, meeting the Wicked Witch and Oz himself, some of the most essential moments in the film in which we could also implement cool triggers. After the edit was complete, I added it to just one of the screens for now, as it wasn't properly cropped into all 6 pieces yet. Now it was time to add a trigger sequence that included special effects like fire for the Oz scenes or the falling apples from the apple trees. I organized each special effect with a readable sign for easy organization later on down the road. Of course, eventually I'll have to move everything inside. Organization was key here because we ended up placing like 30 special effect triggers. Building the entire sequence to match the film's timing took about 2 hours, and I was actually blown away by how the special effects in this game are made for building something like the sphere. Oz is the first edit, and I'll keep it here for a while, but later on down the road we'll actually be adding more films to choose from. That's the ultimate goal. After the trigger sequence was built, we went back to Premiere Pro to crop each of the 6 sections. We exported each video, synced each video up with its proper screen, moved the screen back inside, moved the triggers inside, put our skull back in place, and hoped for the best.
It's not a place you can get to by a boat or a train.
When I'm seeing the screen expand like this for the first time, I'm blown away. That was included on purpose in the edit, but I like it a lot more than I thought I would. I'm so happy with the way this thing turned out, honestly. When everything is 100% polished, I will release a video of the full experience. We'll walk through all the entries we've built and the seats we don't have allowed guests to sit on, and that's intentional. We're going to create an area for them to be able to sit down and enjoy the show. In that same area, we will properly place the special effects and everything, and then play the entire show with no voiceover at all from that area. That will be coming shortly. We just have a little more of the interior to take care of, and then we'll get that full tour. We're going to be doing a lot of heavy building, seats, another entrance, the monorail station that has a tunnel going into the sphere, and we're going to be building our atrium. That's going to be a big, big part of this. This thing is really starting to come together. Thanks for joining me on this journey so far. It's been a lot of fun. We'll see you in episode 4.